Hi everyone, Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. Afternoon coffee, running out of some light here. Just got back from a delicious walk with Mr. Hudson. The weather's quite nice today. So what a crazy video you are in store for. Oh my goodness. We're celebrating 16,000 subscribers. So I will pick 3 winners. I have some fun magnets that I've made. And I will be picking 3 winners, and I will be sending out a magnet, collage magnet. Very fun. Anyway, I'll be sending 3 of those off to winners, and the code word for today is eggshells. So mention eggshells in your comment, and we will pick 3 winners on Wednesday. Today is Saturday, so we will pick 3 winners on Wednesday. I will announce them on our live chat on our YouTube video. If you're a member of that, you'll have first savvy to that. If not, I will be announcing it, so not to worry. Big shout out to Linda. Thank you so much. I got your artwork mailed off today. Rob will have his mailed off as soon as possible, so I'm always ahead of the game. I hate deadlines, so yeah, I try to get everything done before he does. All right, let's talk about today's piece. It's a 2-page spread. In the book that fell apart, there was a 2-page spread there that I didn't care for, so I just ripped it out and I created this with eggshells, Mod Podge, texture paste, underpants, watercolors, 91% alcohol to make some of the amoeba kind of drops, white paint pen. I'm looking down at the piece to see what else. The spray inks, and Nancy Marie had given me some fun little texture stuff, so I used that across the bottom. Oh, I used a napkin. Yeah, as usual, everything but the kitchen sink. So I just let the pieces take me. They're like, okay, how about a napkin next? And so I get up and get a napkin. So anyway, enough from me. Celebration of over 16,000 subscribers. Thank you so very much. New Zealand coming up. We need a couple more people to join us and have fun with us. We will be having 4.5 days of fun altered book. I will bring supplies, and we will just hang out for 4.5 days and have fun and create and laugh and laugh and laugh and get to know ourselves a little bit better. So there you have it. Eggshells. See you on the table. Okay, here is your project for today. You need to kind of watch the video all the way through because I did a lot of changing, a lot of readjusting, a lot of learning. This was with Mod Podge. This was with texture paste. These are actually bodies of fish. It doesn't translate that well. I'm okay with that. So it's just always an experiment and always learning and always fun. I really had fun with it. But I did change the guy quite a bit. So watch it all the way through if you can, even if you fast forward through some of the stuff that's kind of boring. So, all right, let's get to it. Let's crack some eggshells. All right, one of the joys about an altered book is if you do not like something, or even mixed media for that matter, if you don't like something, then you just put some underpants on it and go forward. So I have covered up a 2-page spread here, and I have covered it with underpants, as you can see, and now I'm just putting right on top of the wet Mod Podge, I am just putting a thin layer of gesso to give it grab from here on out. So you do not have to cover a page, but if you have a couple of pages that you want to play with, go ahead and put some underpants on them. Bring out your gesso. I work with a medium or a thick gesso. Some of you have a thinner gesso, so it's easier to keep it thin on your work, but certainly use what you have. I'm not even going to show you the pages that I covered up. Thank you very much. That's why I covered them before you got here. All right, we're going to let that thin layer of gesso dry. All right, I haven't played with the watercolors for a little while. Let's play with some watercolors. I have green and blue, and I also have my 91% alcohol ready, at the ready. So I'm going to do these 2 pages. I'm taking a green, and I like very intense watercolor. Not much of a pastel kind of girl, so I like it nice and intense. Beautiful. And we'll let that dry on both of the pages. Now I'm going to bring the blue in, just as intense. Got to move kind of fast on this part, so I'm only going to do 1 page at a time. Put some water on my brush. Need the water for the alcohol to react to. Got to move kind of fast. A little bit more water. And then we are going to drop some alcohol on there. Let's see what happens. Beautiful. Isn't that fun? Now that is fun. You can add as much alcohol as you want. The minute the watercolor paint starts to dry up, you'll lose your action. We're going to call that good. I'm going to let that dry before I go on to the next page. Okay, that side is almost dry. We're going to go ahead and play on this side. Watercolor paint. Some water on my brush, not too much, but just enough. Scoot it around. Move fast. I have my alcohol at the ready, nice and juicy. I'm holding the page down because it tilts. It's a tilted page, and the alcohol will run off. That is not okay with me. Beautiful. All right, we're going to let that one dry too. All right, now we're getting into some crazy territory. I'm going to cut this fish out with my X-Acto on my cutting mat. Now, not that it's really going to matter, but where it's all feathery on the end, I just go in with my X-Acto and I just make it real feathery. It's almost like perforating it. This is when I don't necessarily want a straight edge. Then I can just rip it. Maintain that feathery edge. This will be covered up probably with some texture paste, but in case you ever need that technique for a feathery cut, that's how you do it. That's how I do it. I am going to cut his head off. Sorry, Mr. Fish. And now I'm going to bring in some eggshells, and I'm going to crunch them up a little bit so that I can play with them. Now, Dana Marie showed me a piece of artwork that she did, and I assume it was with eggshells. I did ask her, and she said yes. So I got my inspiration from Dana Marie, and then I've just kind of course, made a little spin on it myself. That is what we do. I don't know how she did it, but we are going to go in with some Mod Podge. And we are going to cover that just like it was fish scales. And just do the whole fish like that. I have 3 hard-boiled eggs here. 3 shells from three hard-boiled egg shells here. So we'll see how far these go. I do have some more hard-boiled eggs in the fridge in case we need them, but they are not peeled yet. So just going to walk down this fish and scrunch down those eggshells. So I thought I would want to pull my hair out doing this, but I tell you what, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun. If they're overlapping a little bit, I'm okay with that because I like the texture. And I'm working in a smaller book, so my fish is not real big. So I'm just going back in and I'm just adding a few more shells for texture. You will find that some of the shells have that film on the inside. As the eggshells dry, it's really easy to just pull that film off. So it's not anything that you have to spend a lot of time on. It just kind of happens naturally as you're going forward. So here's some of the film. It just comes off really easily. Now remember, I'm just working on printer paper so that I can just Mod Podge it onto my piece. What I'm doing here is I'm just adding some texture paste. And I am working on a Teflon sheet, so I'll be able to pull this up. That is where the fun begins, right? When we take on a challenge. Love that. I just have my stipple brush and I'm just making texture on his fins, on his tail, and on his fins. All right, let's clean all this up and let him dry. Good morning. Dark o'clock here. Our fish has dried all night. I'm just going to put a nice coat of Mod Podge on those shells to make sure that everything stays down well. He's a little curly, but that's okay. We will deal with that. So fun. All right, I'm bringing back our aquatic background. I found this very fun napkin that has kind of seaweedy kind of looking stuff on it. So I am going to put this on the top of the book. Now let's remember that we are dealing with some watercolor there, so we can't just put the Mod Podge on there and expect it not to move unless we work really, really fast. So I will I'm going to add some water around here. And punch that center out. right, I'm going to try to add some Mod Podge up here really quickly. See if I can do that without moving the watercolors too much. Just going to go for it. Let's put this down. Mod Podge on the top of that napkin. And let that dry. All right, let's bring our fish back in with some gesso. Just going to gesso over the whole fish, the scales and the fins and the tail, preparing that for our next adventure. Now we are going to be playing with 2 fish because we're going to be playing on a 2-page spread. So I just did 1 fish at a time to find out how it was going to go, but you can do 2 fish at a time since we know it is going well. All right, let's dry that fish. So this is a fin area, which I am choosing to go ahead and put some shells on it. I'm going to put another coat of gesso on here. Let that dry. All right, I'm bringing in the Black Marble Delusions Shimmer Spray. And my brush. We're just going to give that an undercoat of dark. Let that dry. I'm bringing in my polished jade, which no longer sprays, but it's one of my favorite colors. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the fish, and then with my brush, I will move that around a little bit. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I am going to let this dry in between layers of the shimmer spray. So my bubblegum pink is also clogged. So I am just grabbing my brush and some of that, and I am just putting some on there. Funky Fuchsia. A little bit more polished jade. And we're going to let that fish dry. It's gorgeous. Look at that gorgeous fish. Now it's a little bit solid for me, so I'm going to bring some sandpaper in and just rough it up a little bit. Oh, I love it. Now I made a copy of this cabinet card, and here is my intention, is to have his head on the top of this fish. So I am going to cut him out, mustache and all, with my X-Acto and my cutting mat. All right, I have my fish, and I have my man, and I have his crown. I have this crown that I want to play with for him. It needs a little bit more purple on it to go with him. I have some foil here and some glue dots. Put the foil down sunny side up. Ta-da! All right, now we have your crown, buddy. Very cool. All right, trim him down so that he will fit. I can use Mod Podge on him. Pretty cool. He needs to come in a little bit more. Check his crown. His head peeks through there just a little bit, so we need to cut his head off a little bit. Off with your head. Mod Podge on him. I'm going to Mod Podge all of him to protect him. Bring our book back in, see how we've done here. Isn't he fantastic? He is so good. So very good. He's delicious. All right, I'm going to put tacky glue on the back of him. Lay him down on the page where we want him. It's going to take some coaxing for that stiffer stuff, but that's okay. Should we peek at him? Let's peek at him. Isn't he awesome? Oh my goodness. He is incredible. I am so glad you cannot see my workspace. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to go around the fish, go around the kingfish with my Stabilo, giving him some low lights. He's very fun. I would like to see a little bit more definition around these scales. So I'm just bringing in my Stabilo around some of them. Now I have a piece of sewing pattern and a rubber stamp and my StazOn ink. I'm just going to stamp a few fun flowers, dandelion thingies on here. I'm bringing my pattern piece back in with those fun little flowers on it. I'm going to put the Mod Podge on the back of the sewing pattern as to not disturb the inks at all. Probably picking up some of the ink from the other side. I am okay with that. Look at that, that's gorgeous. No workspace. Conform it with my brush. It's kind of at an angle. And let him dry. All right, let's play with the eggshells again. I am not real good about repeating the same process over and over again. I like to play with new things to see how they'll turn out. So I am putting down some texture paste on the fish. And I'm going to stick the eggshells onto the texture paste. See what kind of fun that brings forward. Well, they certainly stick down easier. Well, that went about 100 times faster than the Mod Podge and the eggshells. This looks more like a mosaic because the texture paste is kind of coming through. Let's see if I can find a piece for that. We'll see how the rest of it goes, but yeah, this was uber easy. Okay, here is our eggshell mosaic fish. I am going to bring in my black gesso because what I learned last time is that I really like the darkness between the shells. So I'm going to go in here and paint everything with black gesso. I used the black soot spray last time, or something like that anyway, and it just was not enough. It didn't go into the corners the way that I wanted it to. So we're going to try this, okay? Take two. Love take two because you can figure out what worked last time and what didn't work last time and try something new. I'm bringing in the polished jade, which we know will not spray. I'm going to put a little bit over here. So gorgeous. Now, put some drops of cut grass on it. Just some splatters. Give it a little bit of something, something. All right. We are going to dry that. All right, I'm bringing in cattail copper brown, and I'm just going to put some blops of that on. It's also a mica shimmer, but it is by Lindy's. And I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to lift that up close so you can see it. Isn't that gorgeous? Kind of looks like a fish. It's beautiful. So having seen what that copper did to our girl fish, I am just going to put some copper drops on our boy fish because they are gorgeous. Avoiding his face. Let that dry. All right, here we go. Little our usual rabbit hole adventure. This is some texture stuff that we got from Nancy Marie. And I'm just taking off some of the edges so that it doesn't look so straight, because it looks like it was cut straight across, which I'm sure it was. And I just don't want it quite like that. I'd like it a little bit more organic or unplanned looking. That looks better. And I am going to put that on the bottom of that page. So I'm going to have to put tacky glue on the bottom here, on the back side, and then I will glue it down. So I'm just smooshing the tacky glue down with my fingers. Put that down where I would like it, near the bottom. And then I'm going to push it down the best I can. So this is all nice and stuck down. That's very fun, huh? Now we're going to play with this fish. And this fish is going to have that head. Very fun. I'm going to cut the head out. Mod Podge her head onto her body. Now we're going to find her some kind of a hat. Alright, I found a fun hat for her. We will Mod Podge that on. I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge her whole face to protect her. Put her hat on her. And while I was looking for a hat for her, I found a better hat for him, our kingfish. I like that much better. Does he need a patch over his eye? Ooh, that would be kind of fun. I'm going to give him a patch over his eye. Put that hat back down. Yes, buddy. Now you're a fish in the ocean, huh? A pirate. All right. And she is going to go there. Cut this to size. Cut some of the straightness out of it. And we will glue that down with the tacky glue. Weight that down with the quinoa and let it dry. All right, she's just about dry. I'm going to go with the Stabilo around her and around the edge. We all know how to do this. And ta-da! Here they are in all their glory. So I hope you could follow along. It's kind of crazy, but it was fun. Yeah. Go create, go play, go have fun.